Hello everyone, this is Ioannis Demertzis, telecommunications and IT technician, owner of a private radio station and other electronic media, former editor of an independent local weekly newspaper, a journalist and a member of Association of Journalists of a magazine and electronic press of Macedonia Thrace in Greece. Today is Thursday, 7th of March, 2024. And I have been involved in exposing the COVID fraud since 2020, 4 years ago.
Hello, my name is Melina Papadopoulou. I'm here to support Ioannis. And I'm very happy to welcome you, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger. I'm very, very pleased and honored that we have you here today. Hello.
Thank you. Hello, Ioannis. Yeah, hello, Melina. I'm very happy to be with Greece and Europe. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
We need to say, of course, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger is an international health scientist conducting and directing researches from clinical to epidemiological studies to science for policymakers since 30 years. She's also a top Swiss researcher and teacher since 20 years with pioneering work in the World Health Organization, United Nations, and the European Union, required her expertise for different programs.
Yeah, and like I see, you're also working in social determinants of health, pandemic preparedness plan, and the international health regulations, and I'd like to go into detail for that later on. International research ethics, global health and human rights, mental health policies, safety and health at work, women's health and rights, population aging impact and policies, innovation in early prevention, interventions, and new models of longevity, and a lot more. And really amazing. You've received quite some awards and honors. Let me tell the public. Honorary Professor of St. Petersburg's Institute of Bioregulations, Russian Academy of Medical Sciences, honorary member of the Swiss Society of Gerontology and Geriatrics, and you also have been a president there. Honorary member, Prevention Alzheimer International Foundation, award nomination in the 100 Swiss Personalities, United Nations Award by the Secretary General Kofi Annan for outstanding achievement. And you've some honors and outstanding statements as well from the United Nations, the World Health Organization, from Dr. Margaret Chan, WHO Director General, Dr. Lee Yong-wook, WHO Director General, Dr. Isabel Nuttall, WHO Director, Dr. Caroline Brown, WHO Program Manager for Influenza and Other Respiratory Pathogens, Dr. Eugenio Modesimos Villar, Head of the Department of Social Determinants and Environment, and as well from the World Bank, governments, and Switzerland, and a lot of more. So I'm so honored that we have you with us today, and it will be a really revealing interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this introduction. Yes, because it's true that I've gone through, a lot, and it's difficult for people to grasp everything I have done in 30 years. But you're right. This is all the people you've mentioned. I have, I think, known 5 Director General of WHO, showed their hand, been on panels, and it's true. That's why I can serve better today. I understand now that my path and my scientific, academic, policy making, policy informed, evidence informed policy that was in WHO, so I helped them. But it's serving today the world, and I just cannot not explain and use that for the best of humanity. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. I always answer to invitations.
Thank you so much. And I suggest that we will link your CV to the video so that everybody can take a look and understand better, because you've done so much. It's really difficult to understand for us. what this means and who you are.
Thank you very much.
So, Dr. Astrid, as I mentioned you before, since the beginning of 2020, when the governments announced that they were closing the borders in every country to prevent the transmission of this fake virus, the COVID, they still called coronavirus. That's what introduced to me, and it was something I didn't like at all. Something completely bizarre and invalid as far as the measures they had announced. And so I left what I was doing, any work at all, and I'm starting to investigate to see what was really going on. So it's true that I suspected that they were setting up a pandemic, putting out a virus for a global and universal compulsory vaccination. They were going to implement world government global control using the vaccine that would contain something unprecedented. Fortunately, it wasn't exactly like that. After research, I have found information that we are in a world war between good and evil. So, the good forces of the light of divine creations were in the final phase of the plan to eliminate all the evil that has existed for thousands of years in this dimension we live in, on Earth. The evil that was invisible, in the invisible, in the sky, on the ground, and of course, underground. I don't want to go into details already through the research I was doing. I was daily discovering more and more terrible things which are not easy to fit in the imagination of the man. Dr. Astrid, I was deep down the rabbit hole, as many of us know this concept. I will move forward in time a little and go to the measures that have been imposed by the government by blackmail. The lockdowns, as we know, the killer masks, the PCR tests, the vaccines. It was shocking, at least for me, when I saw teachers forcing our children to wear masks, even when they couldn't breathe or already had a breathing problem. Same with the tests they were imposing. So I was even more shocked when no doctor, at least in our country, came out to protect our children. There were, of course, a few exceptions of doctors who spoke up a little, but were hounded by the rest of the medical community. We had to do something. There were people suffering. We had Phoenix Pairs, an outbreak of flu cases, and other unprecedented symptoms, particularly in children. So, thinking it was right and ethical common sense, as a parent, as a researcher, and of course as a journalist, it was my obligation to inform the public. So, having a master in computer and internet technology, I gathered all the evidence and the proofs that all these measures imposed to protect us, far from protecting us, are seriously harming us and may even cause death. This book, the period of May to September 2021, I made copies of it and sent it with a bailiff officially to the mayor and the city councillors, the police director, the head of the tax office, and the prosecutor's office in my city of Kavala. No one contacted me for any clarification. I must mention, and most importantly, in my opinion, that I posted this book publicly on the internet so that it can be accessed by everyone for the broad information for the public. With this book, I have helped several people in various legislations on cases involving COVID. I also sent it to ICE, the first in May 2021 and the second in January 2022 to all public administrations in Greece in electronic form through the emails, specifically to all the schools, kindergartens, primary schools, secondary schools, high schools and colleges, all town halls, police stations, prefectures, ministries, members of parliament, medical associations, and even the professional sector, chambers and trade associations throughout the country. I did this to inform and help my fellow citizens so that they do not implement the measures. Of course, with the ultimate goal of not applying the measures to children, especially in schools. Unfortunately, I felt terrible frustration and anger because no one was interested in at all evidence I sent. I could not have imagined that this would be the case. The good thing is that I receive protocol numbers from and show the delivery and the reading reports of each email to all the recipients in Greece. By early of September 2021, I started to get the first attacks from the government for what I was doing. And the simple update. They kept me calling to the police station for statements on this matter. They just want me to arrest me, to silence me forever. In 2022, the criminal government, through the IRS, confiscated me all my legal income as a professional from the till now. I can't issue any invoice and get paid. You know, it's very hard to me. And if I do a job for a client and issue an invoice, the entire amount of the invoice I have to pay the IRS. You see, all of this clearly indicates that something else was going on. They were simply trying to kill us. And here somewhere, I give you a recent comment on all of this, which of course everyone should do, investigate and inform everyone. So, concerning this, the emails I sent all over Greece and their content, I would like to shortly discuss it with you and to get the scientific opinion about the main issues. PCR masks, mask wearing, lockdowns and vaccines that they're not, where everybody knows that it's not vaccines. Do they protect against this virus, the fake virus?
Well, the question is where do we start? Because before we ask for the mask, we have to ask what is it. There are three at the beginning. Let's say like this: there were three hypotheses. There was first, is there a virus? If there is a virus, what is it exactly? If there is no, or B, there is no virus. So if it's no virus, what is it? And then the third is what other factors are doing? Because if you protect from a mask, when the contamination comes from water, you have no effect. So the first question would really, and we can come back to that afterwards, but the mask, number one, WHO has never recommended a mask in the public health area. They have recommended but never obliged, and they have no right to oblige. The country decides to wear a mask. It was recommended for H1N1 and it is recommended in June 2020. It was recommended, but it was only in the clinics, you know, with the healthcare professionals, but never in the public. That's the number one that people have to understand. The recommendation from the policymaker was not an obligation. So why did the governments oblige that? That's the question we can ask. But what we have to first secondly say is that the masks, how do you validate that a mask is a protection for anything? So the first process, normally politically, the process of validation is that you have to go through the European Union agency for validation of devices, and a mask, is it a device? It is a medical device. So you should test, and it should come with a test and validation from an institute and from an engineering expertise that show that the masks, it does not, you cannot traverse the mask with certain molecule and the size of molecules. So it has never been done, actually. And when you look, that is number one. I don't see any proof they should prove to us that this mask is safe. Even normally the surgeons have very specific masks, but what they imposed on the population were boxes that said that this does not protect and does not guarantee that it's protection from mask. That most of the boxes had this, or if they did not have it, they were made in China, and they came with big airplanes. And there was a scandal in France because they took some masks and it was made in China. So the mask cannot be validated like that. So this is the first question. It's the political validation, the scientific validation, and then it is, where does it come from? What is it? Where do they come? How did they make so much business out of this? What is the motivation to do this? Because it is not protective. And the fourth thing, now it's the fourth thing, it's what are the consequences for your health if you wear a mask? And that's the real question. Because we know now by the studies, because people don't know all the studies that have been taken place, that the mask creates irritation on the skin. That's the first thing. You cannot speak, so it closes the communication. It's a psychological operation to isolate people. The babies cannot see their mother when they're born. And that is already, we're going from outside inside. And biologically, the masks are actually the worst thing that you can put on your face. And Mr. Fauci, NIH, and in the government of Trump, made and wrote an article in 2009, scientific article I have in my computer, who says that the masks during the pest, the plague, the Spanish flu, sorry, the masks were the one that killed most people because they were creating bacterial pneumonia. Exactly. So we have science that shows this, and then they're not showing. Now, what some scientists did to show how evil this is, and I was telling people, take a microscope, show your child that you wet the masks, and you look under the microscope, and you will see little worms moving. And the scientists who studied that say that's Morgellons, and there's many other stuff that should never be in a mask. So actually, it's the opposite of protecting. It was making people sick. It was making people psychologically impaired. It was breaking the relationship between mothers and parents and child. It was heartbreaking that people obeyed like that.
Yeah.
And then people got a fine. I'm an expert, in a film in Switzerland called Totalitarism from Switzerland and Helvetica. And they showed that people who were not wearing masks when they were taking money from the bank got a fine of 1,000 euro, 1,000 Swiss francs. And that is totally unjustified. So just only the mask, you see how many things we can say, that not only it's not validated, not only it's not safe, but actually it creates illnesses. And it creates psychologically also a censorship of the word, a censorship of the image, and that has big consequences. So that's only the mask.
It's dangerous.
Yes, it's bad. It's also, hiding the face. You're not human anymore. You're just half human.
Yes. It's psychological warfare.
Yes. And everything is like this. You see, I will just add to this two things that people forget, and then we can talk about the other measures that were taken. But the plexiglass in the shop everywhere in the world, they put at the cash plexiglass.
Yes.
How did they organize this so well that you should have had,
so quickly?
Yeah, it grew very quickly. The stock market in plexiglass must have grown immensely.
Yeah.
And they put that it has no reason. You have to prove that if it is a virus, it goes around this and it would really be safe. It was just a psychological warfare to show to people the invisible is dangerous.
Yes.
That was very bad. The other thing in shops, which was very bad, is that they were putting distanciation on the floor, 5 meters, 10 meters. Yeah. Even if you were not sick, you should put the mask and keep the distance, which makes no sense. So it means that a healthy person is not healthy anymore, and they have to prove that you're healthy in a shop where it's a public health place. And there is absolutely no justified reason to put this distanciation, the plexiglass, the mask. And the other thing that really upset me was hydrogel. For washing the hands with hydrogel, where is the same as the mask, same algorithm. Where does this hydrogel come? Who has validated it? Who has obliged people to put that everywhere in all the shops, all the airports, all the entry points? This hydrogel up to today, it's over. There is no COVID. There is, and they keep on this psychological warfare. Yes. And then it makes, again, it's not preventing. It's actually intoxicating people in the skin, because it goes through the skin. The skin is a very sensitive respiratory organ. It's an organ.
Our largest organ.
Yeah, and it goes in, it's the whole body, but it goes in the blood, makes rashes. People got sick, they were not well, and it's still there.
And it destroys the pH of the skin.
Yes.
The protection of the skin.
And that's only the business of hydrogel, plexiglass, the mask. But then you have the PCR, the lockdown, and all the measures they did with the lockdown from all the sports that make people healthy, and they took and they censored every activity that was healthy. You can calculate.
Yes. I got charged second time for spreading false news, misinformation about this through these emails, and all that you said right now. I included on this collection of the proofs.
But it's never seen in history.
Yeah.
It is not in the international health regulation. We will talk about this, but it is no policy, no public health expert will validate what they did. It was so quickly under the emergency, fake emergency, they created such a fair emergency action, prevention, warfare that everybody was shocked because they were not expecting it.
Yeah.
Now we know. Yeah.
And they kept people out of the sun.
Yes.
Vitamin D, out of nature, no oxygen, no sport, no moving, nothing.
Yes.
No church.
Yes.
No, the thing that brings relief, spirituality to the people was forbidden, and all the religious leaders were shut off. No church. And if somebody was going to church and doing that, they would have a fine.
Yes.
This is what is totally illegal. Where is it written that you cannot have a church ceremony under the emergency law? No. So they used an entry point with emergency. When you look back, it is very clear. You never lock down a city, lock down the airplanes, put down the airplanes. This is not the way to manage an emergency. I was in WHO. This is the last thing to do, is to take livelihood and to break families. And they did everything opposite. And they cut family ties. You have to wear masks to go and eat.
Yeah.
When Christmas with the mask, I mean, how bad can you get? And then say that to old people, you're a bad person if you don't wear the mask because you put in danger your grandmother. So you cannot give her a kiss at Christmas when there is no virus. I mean, the truth is that there is no virus today. But, 200 institutions, universities in the world have validated that they never found a COVID virus.
We have all of these documents in the Freedom of Information's website, and they have all these proofs, all of them.
Yeah, but I mean, I can tell you. I mean, if we go to the virus,
the affidavits, everything.
Yeah, but it's good that people understand it's the same algorithm in the measures.
Correct.
So that this public health total lockdown was such a shock to me, because as an expert in public health, everything was the opposite of healthy. It was really to make people sick, to make people fearful, to make them psychologically diminished. People could not go to work. People could not meet. And they made people really believe that there is a virus. They put the image of the virus. It was a Photoshop. It's a Photoshop.
Yes.
It's like the moon. It's a Photoshop. The NASA thing. It's Photoshop. You can go and look at the people who talk about NASA, and the images are Photoshopped. And you go, okay, they have been doing this for a long time. But
they erased the feeling of love. They produced fear, and when you're fearful, you get sick after a while. When you're constantly fearful, because your immune system is down.
Yes, it's exactly that, and it's disrupting the quality of life that you have, and your sense of you belong to yourself, your freedom. Yes. So they disrupted totally the freedom, on top of disrupting the immunity, And I can add now that they actually even changed the definition of immunity, because if we have natural immunity, we are healthy. The number one is that we are healthy beings, we are divine, and from the birth, we can regenerate. Our stem cells are done to regenerate all our process in every organ. And the liver is one of the best, but the brain regenerates up to death, and all the cells can regenerate, like all the muscles. I've been writing on anti-aging medicine, for the Medical Academy of Science of Switzerland, a report for 350 pages in English. It's on my website and also in French. And I mean, the aging should never be in pain, and should not. You should not be sick when you're old. If you regenerate, you take natural medicine, etc. But they try to make you believe that when you're old, you're sick, and it is normal. Yeah. You lose your memory, it's normal. No, nothing is normal, because your body is made to regenerate yourself.
Exactly. And this is why aging is not a normal process. It's not natural, or at least it should happen much, much later.
Yes, exactly. And you can do sports. And I always was showing in my conferences and in my writings, the cases, the beautiful cases of a mountain guide of Zermatt, who took his clients up to 96 years old. And he said, I'm bored if they don't go fast enough.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of the prejudice we have on old people.
Exactly.
And it's the same with somebody biking, the Robert Marchand, a French, cycling, not a professional, started at 70 years old. He was depressed, so he did that, got very happy. He became the world record runner of bicycle on a stadium at 106 years old. Every year he was breaking his record, and he was happier, and he was a star. And I always said, you're in the country of the Olympic Games, that this senior Olympic Games exist, but nobody's talking about it. So I took pictures and I put it in my books. And I have the English version. I will publish it in a year or something, because it's not the moment. I'm too censored for the moment. But it's just to show that you are healthy. And they have made a psych-op today that you have to prove you're healthy, because they used all the tricks they could to change the data, to change the diagnosis, to say that there is no immunity. The only immunity is the vaccine. They also said that the PCR, which is a big scam, and we will come to that, the PCR is the diagnosis. Nobody can make another diagnosis than the PCR, and there is no autopsy. So there is no way that the crime can be proven.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I talked about, a lot of things, but it is mainly to show the algorithm of the deception, the continuous deception of the measures in public health that were more evil. Ethically, they were the opposite of ethical.
Yeah. This was all programmed.
Yes, you cannot, you can make one mistake. Somebody can make one mistake and one lie. Okay. Two mistakes, two lie. But every day a lie, every day a mistake. Yes. Every day, continuously, they don't stop, and they censor the truth. There is a war. Yeah. And it is a war.
Yeah. It's become
censorship of information and of deception and lies. It's enormous when you look at the science. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Murphy law. It's a Murphy law in science.
But you know what I see? They've continued for so long that it already goes into the mass collective subconscious of the people. They think it's normal. That's another trick.
Yeah, the trick is now that if there are deaths, it is always COVID. Even if COVID is over, even the word should not be used anymore. It's in the brain of so many people.
Yes.
Even doctors. But there is hope, because my brother said, no, there's no COVID anymore. But he still believes in it. Yeah. So when disease X will come, they will say that COVID is part of disease X. So they have made a meta imprint programmation that it is the same.
Yeah.
So they have made this carved, and who has carved this? Strategically, of course, it's a big group, John Hopkins, there's Operation 201, They have trained since 2017, even before. But now, who has carved the strategic communication is McKinsey and Deloitte. I know this because WHO, some friends of mine from WHO have showed me and have the proofs of all the contracts of McKinsey, who are doing the strategic operation of media in the whole world for the UN, for WHO, for Switzerland, maybe for many other countries, and in the US, for New York. So when in New York so many people died in 2020, they say it was a communication fear-monger.
Yes.
Yes.
Fear-mongering.
And it still goes on because they're still on AP, AFP, and Reuters.
Yes. And many suicides from people, but they're afraid of all of this scam.
Yeah, but I think we know, people see now that there is a problem. There is something that is not clicking. Especially, you don't need to have a PhD or anything because it's not the most intelligent who is conscious today. There is a kind of a consciousness of another type to suddenly see behind the veil that this is not new. It's been going on for a long time. A lot of lies. It's not, and when people suddenly think, they say, "Oh, who is directing? Who is behind this?" And I think there are more than we think that know, but they don't dare to speak. And I think that now government people start to be afraid.
Yes.
Of course they're afraid because they know that there is military alliance, like Pascal has talked about. You know, there's a military alliance behind that is acting, and they don't know maybe if some of their colleagues are still fake or not, where they are. And if they don't see them anymore, they will never say it because they're afraid. So I think this year is very crucial on that point anyway. So
yeah, I just wanted to say the kind of intelligence that people have is called common sense. It's common sense.
Yes.
Most people are becoming aware. It's not the people who are considered very, very intelligent.
Mm.
The people who are becoming aware are just reacting because they have common sense. You know?
Yes.
It's really this simple.
Yeah, there is a logic. They're not programmed by the order of medicine.
Yeah.
And the doctors have fallen in the trap.
Yeah.
And lawyers and others. Yeah. You know, I always say my postman, he got it, that something's wrong since the beginning.
Yeah.
He said, why should we wear masks all the time? I mean,
because he has common sense.
Yes. So yeah, this is a very interesting group. It's the people with common sense.
Yeah.
And so
please, let's go into the PCR as well.
Yes. Yeah. So the PCR, I must tell you that, you know, and I have written for those interested. First, in the COVID, before before the PCR, I want to talk about the virus detection. In April 20, I wrote an article in Acta Biomedica that you can find. I sent it to you. You can distribute it, post it. And I already had doubts about what is going on because I knew that it didn't correspond to international health regulation or management of emergency. But I wrote and I thought, what the heck is COVID-19? Why do they call a virus like this? And we know now that Divok means devil in Hebrew. So they created 19, you know, so it starts like if we have it since a long time in the history books, they thought. But they also made a name that they've never seen. Actually, a coronavirus, which is COVID, is a flu. In the manuals, handbooks of medicine, anybody go and see, please. It's a common flu that is not dangerous. Number one, it's common flu. It's not dangerous. Number three, it mutates all the time.
Yeah.
So it is impossible to call it COVID-19 because it will be COVID-19 A, B, C, D, and it has nothing to do with the one before. So it mutates so much that if it goes, from one department of Greece to another, it has already mutated. So it's impossible to call it one name. And therefore, it goes away very quickly, like in SARS-CoV-1. It goes out in 8 months. 24 countries were touched, and it was over 700 deaths. And they might have said it's that and it's something else because it was a flu. So this is the biggest scam, is that they have taken coronavirus, which is a common flu that mutates, and they have created a psyop with one name and one name of vaccine, when a mutation never creates a vaccine. If there is a mutation, they always, for the flu, have created different vaccines for every mutation every year.
Exactly.
So there are not even logic with their lies.
No.
So now we can question all the vaccines because how do you prove there is a virus? Number one, in WHO, we had many, causality of diseases. And it is not just one disease, it's many diseases. It can be foodborne, you're sick because there's salmonella in your food. There can be chemical in the rivers. The chemical can create a lot of things, heavy metals, and there is radionuclear. So how do you prove that if it is a virus, it is a virus? You have to go through a protocol called the Koch protocol. Institute of Koch is one of the most important in the world in Germany. Germans are very good in, identification of many things, but in disease, they're very good for Lyme disease, for bacteria, for parasites. So the Koch postulates, and this is the logic of common sense also. If there's a virus, you have to first take it. You have to isolate it in a petri dish. You have to purify it. That's the number one. Number two. The third, and that is already there, you have to take pictures of the virus isolated and purified to have a proof. We have never seen pictures of this mutant. Never. It's always the photoshopped picture. Always. So now the number 3 and number 4, which is essential to the proof of medicine, is they have to take again this virus and re-inoculate it in animals and humans to prove it creates the same symptom to everybody, same symptom. The causality has to be proven. So you have to take this virus and you can inject it and it creates the same disease and death because they made it so dangerous and they were not dead. So this is the first thing. Then the third thing, and the last, fourth, number 4, you have to prove the evidence of the transmission. Is it contagious or not?
Yeah.
And some diseases are very contagious and some are not contagious. So this contagion has never been proven at all. And the fact of the matter is that the symptoms were very different from one person to the other. Yes. There were some people who had pneumonia, some others didn't have. Some people had a hard time to breathe, but nothing to do with an infection. So it can be an acute radiation, which we think it is today because of 5G. I just go take a shortcut. Yeah. It is more a correlation of mortality with 5G that we find today where they had big towers, where the COVID-19 was spectacular, like New York, like Wuhan, and north of Italy. So this is a factor, but it is not a virus. Now, so that's a huge scam, and there's enough papers.
In Ecuador as well, it was the worst country in South America with a lot of deaths, the first country.
Yeah, and the deaths are not only due to this 5G, they're also due to the treatment. We know today, 3 years after, that the treatment is what killed. Remdesivir, Paxlovid, Midazolam. Today, we have proofs the intubation in New York. It's clear today. Exactly. They are attacked. Cuomo is attacked today. He's in a lawsuit for having deceived and, participated to the killing. So it is coming out this year. This year, it will be a big disclosure of what we are telling you, but it's already in the evidence. Yeah. So this is to say there is no virus. It's something else. It is to roll out the vaccine, the fear, because there is no mortality in 2020 than any other years. And it is agreed from Stanford University Ioannidis, Professor Ioannidis from Stanford University, who wrote many articles during 2020.
Yes.
You know about that, right, Ioannis?
Yes.
Yeah, and also he published in WHO in January 21. I mentioned that all the time in WHO bulletin. He said there is no more mortality, and he made a count by country. He said locally there might have been more deaths, but
I remember.
You see, and there are many. So when you say that to politicians and you say, listen, can you see? They don't know what to say. They go, oh my God, what happened? And they don't know how to return to the truth because they have been rolled into a washing machine of lies.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they say sorry, they don't know how to get out of the washing machine. They have to say sorry and get out anyway. So now to the PCR. If there is no virus, what is the PCR? And even if there was a virus, the PCR, and I have written this article in Acta Biomedica, and then I was asked, because I criticized the measures already then, I started to question what is this. And the radio, Swiss radio, because I've been many times on the radio, but the first time for this PCR was in the summer 2020 with the head of the laboratory of the university hospital. And I've worked in the university hospital, so I know them, I know their mentality. And I really challenged him. He didn't know what to say, because there are three key matters that you can always mention. But first we have to say PCR is a device to use in laboratory, not for research, in laboratory. It is not a tool to be used in public health, neither in clinical health. It is used when you know what you're looking for. And this can be the proof of that is that the inventor of PCR, Dr. Kari Mullis, has said many times the PCR cannot be used. It's only a lab, you know what you're looking for. Yes. And he said it to Fauci in the AIDS virus. He said, you show me the virus because the PCR doesn't show that anything. And then it was used again by Fauci now, and for H1N1. But the PCR, Kari Mullis said, it's impossible to use that for diagnosis. Yes, it is not possible. He was very firm. And he even asked Professor Montagnier to show him the virus of the AIDS, HIV AIDS. Yeah. And Professor Montagnier did not know what to tell him. He said, well, I don't have a picture of the virus, but maybe you can go and look at the monkey, monkey would put pictures of monkeys with HIV. But can you imagine that this PCR has been a deception for so long? It's absolutely crazy. But for the PCR, so Kari Mullis has been a long fighter of this PCR non-validation, and he's the best expert. The number two is that the CDC, I found that in a paper of 2020 in 13th of July 2020, CDC, on the PCR, RT-PCR, rapid test PCR, in the section of limitations, it is written that PCR cannot diagnose anything, neither a virus, a bacteria. It is not there as a tool to manage a public health emergency.
So
it
why
is clear.
So why they continue to use it and push the people?
But no, and the third, I want to say, because you see that now we have the best Nobel Prize, that is a true Nobel Prize. Then we have the American government, and Fauci has already been using it. And then we have WHO. My third proof that I write in all the articles is that WHO wrote a notice during 2020, and that I have the proof in December 21. I have the notice that you cannot make the PCR without doing the noting the amplification cycle. Yes, and it's a technical detail, but it's important to tell people that you have to note it
35 times and more. They amplify the amplifications more than
so they have to
15, 20, it's the normal.
Yeah, but what is amplification? Because people don't know what it is.
Magnifies the what it cuts in a laboratory.
Yeah, you take, it's like if you have a soup and you add water, so you amplify the vision and you try to find more and more, so the more you dilute and the less you see it. Actually with this, so amplification is normally at 27 to find what you're looking for. But in this case, everybody in the whole world had more than 35 and they had even 40.
40.
And the University Hospital of Marseille, IHU, with Professor Raoult, who are very good, they made a big study where they proved that over 35 amplification cycle, 97% to 98% are false positive. So this is all over the place. We know that the amplification cycle will over 40 in most countries, over 40, over 37. And even over 25, it is already, even 30. It is not valid because they don't know what they're looking for. There is no virus. There is no virus. So this is the three together is a huge scam. And the notice of WHO says you have to write down the amplification cycle and you have to validate the symptoms with a medical doctor. This has never been done. Neither one. No medical doctor has validated it. It was so afraid because it was imposed on the order of medicine. And it was paid, and the doctors were paid to apply the PCR and make COVID cases. Because now that we know that it's a scam, that they did not put the amplification, why did they do that? They did that because that is the key to augment and to amplify the mortality by COVID. So even people with car accidents were diagnosed COVID because the doctors were corrupted and paid to do that.
Exactly.
And the autopsies were forbidden. So you have, again, a deception, the same algorithm.
Yes.
It's always, is the virus? No, there's no virus. It's crazy because this PCR doesn't do, and they are paid. And we know now today that doctors were paid, not all probably, but they were paid. So what happened is statistically, the statistics were wrong during the whole time and still today. They are underestimated or overestimated. PCR overestimated all the statistics.
Yes.
Not only death rates with COVID, but because there was no more mortality, but the sick cases. And this is where they only talked of sick cases of COVID of 97% of false positive who were healthy sometimes. So people were healthy with positive and they were in the category of sick. And this, any mathematician and anybody can understand that they created sickness in healthy people.
And I can ask you, who can legally do a PCR test to humans? Because this is a doctor's test, a laboratory test, it's something special. Here in Greece, we saw many sellers of pharmacies do PCR tests to the people. Are they legal to do this?
No, we never discussed this in WHO. When I was training, and we set up the training for international health regulation, and how do you assess that an emergency of public health concern, international concern, will become an epidemic/pandemic? We never discussed the PCR. This is incredible. This was a psyop created by Fauci, Drosten, from the Koch Institute. And this is crazy because the Koch Institute had a very, very good reputation, but it was infiltrated to create this psyop.
Correct.
Yes.
So people hopefully understand that it was a chronic disease, fear mongering, that everybody's sick, and there is no legal basis to that. There is no legal basis. Who validated the PCR? Nobody.
How they know how long to push this stick in The nose.
Oh, on top of it, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so not only did it
This
not...
is the most important thing because how many
well,
injuries?
Yeah, but it's also important to show the harm of the statistics, because the media, McKinsey, they created false, fake statistics of mortality, of disease, a pandemic curve, to make people believe that the COVID kept on and on and on, even if it was impossible for coronavirus. It was over. And that made them, gave the justification for vaccine because they made a lie on sick people, and they made healthy people feel they're sick.
Yeah.
So the immunity was dropping, and so the legality of this is actually Rainer Fumisch attacked very quickly Drosten and Tedros for the PCR test, and it was very difficult to attack which tribunal is going to arrest them. It's only international, but WHO is international. So who can arrest the head of WHO? It's only a military tribunal or a people movement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A natural law, also natural law mandavit. We did that with Canada. We condemned WHO for all this and more. But it is normally natural law. It resonates in the universe and it comes back like a boomerang on their head. So let's see what happens. But yeah, it's everything like that, actually. But it's a good example. PCR is a key to everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And this I have written in the reports that you have for different countries, for Finland, for Canada, and for the grand jury of Rainer Fumisch. I actually was a key witness for the PCR argumentation, and also that the emergency law does not make sense.
Yeah.
And also PCR contains nanofibers.
Oh yes, sorry,
The swab.
That is the problem that all these fake doctors, who can say the sellers that do PCR tests to the people, they don't know how deep they push this stick on the nose, and we saw that many times they push it so strong into the nose, and
even babies.
Yes, and creates very big damage on the head.
An injury in the membrane.
And
it's blood-brain barrier.
Yes.
And the Slovakia public health people made a very good report saying that
I have it. This,
yeah, you have it. So we can. You want to talk about it?
Yes, of course. If you like, of course. It's very important.
Yeah, to show what they put on this, because it's exactly the same as Mark. They have induced disease in the
Many people have problems, still have problems from the test they did before, and also we can say that they did it in purpose to create problem with the head, everything with this PCR test.
Yeah, and they put lithium, and they put graphene.
Yes.
And they put little fibers.
Correct.
That still today we try to analyze, but what they did is they were using one of the places in the physiology that goes directly to the brain and the pineal gland.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And to open small holes in the blood-brain barrier, and so to allow more easy the nanotechnology of the vaccination to go through into the brain. So
of the vaccination and other things, because
the other things
we don't know everything they did. And actually we cannot make autopsies. The causality between the PCR in the back of the nose and how it affected the brain is very difficult to demonstrate, because nobody believed that until we were analyzing. Nobody wanted to listen to us. But today, in the babies, and there are studies that are ongoing. So
yeah.
Maybe that's why they had hypnosis, because lithium creates, that you slow down and you don't react so much. If you put fluoride, then it calcifies the pineal gland and people have no reaction anymore. So it might have been a bio-nanotech operation, the PCR, to neutralize, some people as much as they could.
Correct.
Yeah, it makes people passive. You don't react.
So there's a lot of more unknowns.
So I'd like as well to go into the international health regulations.
Yes, this is,
you're an expert in it, and you're teaching them, in fact, to students. So would you please like to tell us what they're about, what exactly it is, and how they're being used?
Yeah, so I was teaching so that people understand, and you have the papers that prove it. Yeah, that during 3 years, we developed and improved the training of the international health regulation implementation. So that was the first teaching, and I then was teaching at WHO Europe also. And then I also taught at the university. I created the summer school, international summer school, with the UN, WHO, and the Human Rights Council. The one whole week was on IHR, International Health Regulation, and the student had to work on case studies that I had created for WHO. So I took the material and was teaching that and invited experts. So it is not that it just was in WHO. I kept on teaching that in this summer school until 2016. Then they started stopping it because Gavi and Bill Gates sent people to say that I could not teach anymore. So I then was teaching it in a private, it's called SIT, Study Abroad Program, from the Association of World Learning, where I've been teaching for more than 10 years. And I was teaching the students this course on IHR. So I kept on making exercise and, updating it. So it's not just, once I really used it, but they tried to stop me from teaching it. Very interesting. It shows that they did not want people to know about it.
Yes, exactly.
The Faculty of Medicine. So now what is it? Actually, it is a booklet, little red and orange booklet you can find on WHO.
We have it, and we can post it.
But if somebody wants to take a look,
No, they should, because it is very readable. It is very easy to read. So I would invite everybody. It is in many languages, not just the UN languages, and it is it's like the Bible of emergency management, epidemic. Because before a pandemic, you have an epidemic of 1 country, 2 country, 3 country, like in SARS-CoV-1, 8 months for 24 country. It takes time. And each country in this international health regulation, emergency management, has the same rules to diagnose and inform the neighbor country and WHO. And WHO only coordinates. So it is an obligation under WHO constitution. It's really an obligation. So countries are obliged to declare if they have an epidemic so that the neighbor will not get sick. That was the principle. Or if you have Chernobyl and the radioactive cloud goes over Sweden, they have to notify. But, radionuclear can be questioned sometimes. But anyway, and for example, if a chemical plant, that was my case study for chemical, in China explodes, and the chemical go in the river, and the river goes to Russia, and the fishes die, the plants die, and people get sick, they have to come to the source and know that in China there was a plant. How do we treat? What do we do? So all these exercises were done in WHO. But so it's an obligation, because it is cooperation. So the international health regulation was there so that countries would cooperate in the good way.
Yeah.
But you see, it was nice for me. I didn't see anything evil, except with radionuclear, I had a doubt. Yeah, but the idea was really to collaborate and to create a framework of health security, if you want, in the world without obligation for the country to only to inform, but not to take a measure that is decided by WHO. There was never this in the international. So every country can apply it in his or her own way. 194 countries are not the same, like all human beings.
Yeah.
So if you're in Greece or you're in Alaska, it's very different.
Yeah.
If you're in Greece or Switzerland or Greece and Indonesia or a warm country or cold country, islands or mountains, the points of entry are not the same. So the idea, and I was in charge of many courses, and one was on health systems. And every country has a focal point to give the information. In every country had to appoint an office or a focal point. So there were many rules so that there would be a certain cooperation of how to work, but there was no obligation to have exactly the same in every country. Never.
Of course.
Focal point or an office. Switzerland had an office, and I think Greece has a focal point, a person that can change. But the idea was that in IHR 2005 was after STRATCOV-1. It was to be implemented from 2009 to 2012. That was the first contract I got with them. Then it was to be renewed, to be kept on, to be implemented, so that every country would know how to manage their health system, the ethics, the emergency management.
It's something. Yeah, it's important. It's something positive.
Yes, it was positive. So my exercise to show you is that they had to build capacity building. So they had to have a capacity, for example, to understand the law of their country, how they could apply the law, or if they have to correct the law. And that's probably what they did, not in a good way. Yeah. But then they have to prepare their country in case of an emergency, public health concern, in the 4 typologies, not just the virus, a bacteria, a parasite, and Ebola, whatever. Yeah, but also foodborne, etc. Because of international trade. And then there is surveillance. Then there is the response they have to have and know what to do. And then they have to put human resources and money in this. So there was a push. So every country would have a capacity to respond if there was a threat, a risk. And they had to know how to do a risk assessment. I was in charge of that. So they had to make the exercise to have very thorough risk assessment with annex. There is annex number 2 is the most important. You have to decide if it is really an emergency. And you can go through that and you will not see that COVID was an emergency at all. So they did not, it's a violation. What happened is a violation of the international relation. Yes. But we had also courses for communication of the risk to people. I was in charge of that. And actually we were making with the CNN anchor who was in the WHO, we were making simulation with the country members, from the science to the politician, on how they have to announce to the world if there is a radionuclear event, if there is a chemical, and so we were simulating that they have to, the first number 1, they should never create fear.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Never fear, never panic.
No.
So you are talking about epidemic situations,
yes.
For example. Here we have, they announced that we had something bigger, a pandemic, we can say, and they spread fear. And so we have a bad situation with our governments. They, how to say, I wrote an article about that I make a research in 2020. I call some companies, for example, that selling electricity, and I ask them if someone can work during the pandemic, during the virus, if they have any rules from the government to not to cut off the electricity. And told me we have no any rule like this. Everything is going like we have previous. And that's so strange.
Like it was before. So this is what I wanted to ask you, that in the case, of course, they created it, they violated everything, but in the case of a real emergency, a pandemic, what should happen? How should the government react? What should be done? Is it legal to cut off water and electricity supply?
Yes.
No, the first rule validated.
People blackmailed with this. They went to work. They pushing to did this vaccine, so-called vaccine, and just to have money to pay their bills. Yeah,
in Greece they totally
they
took advantage of all this.
Yeah, I never heard that before in any country. I never heard that.
In Greece, we had a war, a psychological war against us with the fear, and they don't make a lot of money in Greece. And they were spending all the money already for, tests and the basic things. And nearly everybody had a problem with their water and electricity bills, and they were going up and up and up. And they were cutting off the electricity and water supply.
Many houses, yes, of course.
During a so-called pandemic.
Yes.
How did they do? But it's not cholera. I mean, you would change that if it's cholera because it comes from water or sewage.
Yeah, people couldn't pay the bills, They declared the pandemic.
It happens to me. It happens to me 2 times.
During a pandemic.
I don't want to work with all of these measures. That's why I stopped my work.
During a pandemic, people should be protected.
Yes. And you should not stop. One of the rules is not to stop trade and travel. This is one of the Annex 2, the way to use a decision instrument is that you should not, you have to prove that it propagates internationally, but you should not take a risk for travel and trade. So I don't understand why they did that. I mean, what's your explanation? Because that's just to make people afraid and to create more poverty, or what is your explanation?
Make people afraid. It's extreme pressure on the people, to consent.
Yeah.
It's another way to make people consent to everything. Because, I don't have electricity. What shall I do? I don't have water. I have to live.
Yes.
People
I need to
didn't
go
have
to
food.
work, make a test. So they pay the tests every time from 5 to 7 euros every time. Yes.
The test is the biggest scam. I mean, some people made millions and billions maybe of money around the world on PCR, on masks, hydrogel. I mean, but the PCR is the worst because they force people to get it all the time.
Yeah.
When it mutates, and there's no reason to do that. I mean, and on top of it, they're collecting, DNA.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So, but just to make it clear that how a government has to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because let's suppose there's a real pandemic, there's a real problem, and people should be protected. People should have electricity. People should have basic needs: water, food, medicine.
Yes. In IHR, in the International Health Regulation, that was also an exercise I was doing. I can give you all the numbers because there are many articles who protect people, protect their human rights, their luggage, living, their goods, the territory. Everything.
We have serious problem here in Greece. I don't know what happened in other countries. As Melina said about water supplies, electricity, energy, IRS, the IRS continues to charge people
They
Melina,
freeze their accounts.
Yeah, freeze accounts. Banks
Oh,
continue to
They don't
to
even
take.
leave money,
Yes.
food or basic
but
needs.
on what
Yes.
reason? On
And,
what reason?
in reason that they have a problem with, for example, not to pay, but during
You
the
didn't
pandemic.
pay your taxes, for instance,
The tax, yes, during the
because
pandemic.
you didn't have money.
I think
And
it's
they will cut the water because they don't have money?
Yes.
Pay the tax?
yes, yes.
But is that? I mean, that's fascist, really. I mean,
Well, people didn't have any more money. You know, the whole
Yes.
thing, the lockdowns, the
Yes,
tests,
yes.
No,
of
and Greece has been in a very bad situation for many years now. So we can wonder, why is Greece attacked so much?
yes, extremely.
But because it's like France, it's very attacked. Because it has another mentality and profiling of the people are thinking. And Greece is one of the most important place of culture. Your culture and mythology, which is not mythology, is so probably a key to what is happening.
Exactly.
So they're attacking you like they're attacking France and Scandinavia,
Yes,
because they want to erase the history of Greece and the history of the north and of France.
Yes.
Many people say because they are spiritual countries, they will be more attacked.
I want to stay in the regulations because the law, what happened behind the law. Because look, except that there is a fake pandemic, it's a fake pandemic. We say it's the government had to help the people to stop everything.
Instead of helping the people, let's say,
and they did the opposite.
They declared it a pandemic. Instead of helping the people with regulations, with support, with free energy, with food, with basic needs, they did exactly the opposite.
Correct.
Yeah, but like it's always the same algorithm. You see, the mask is not to protect; it's to infect with modules more and nanotech.
And fast push all this measure to take the houses from the low and the depths, everything.
Lots and lots of people have lost their houses because of that during the pandemic.
Oh, but that's what they want. Oh my God, that's
from 2020 till this year, for example, they continue to take houses, to put to throw the families outside the house during the COVID measures, you know,
because they couldn't pay their debts or whatever, and lots.
There are families without electricity.
People have lost their houses. They don't have anywhere to stay.
But that's very cruel. I mean, what? Yeah, it's like some parts of Australia were like that too, and right. But that's extreme because I haven't heard many countries having that.
Yes, it was, and it still is.
Nobody knows actually.
It's ongoing. It's ongoing.
Is any law in the regulation to protect the people from this? Is something in this?
So this is why we ask you if in the international health regulations we can find.
Yes. Well, no, but the human rights. I mean, the fraud is such a big fraud.
Yes.
That it is. If they know they made it. You know, it's when you make it so big, the elephant in the room. You don't know how to grab it. It's so much. It's so illogical. It's a chain effect of fraud.
Yeah.
And this is why it is, for me, it's, I don't know how to answer to you because everything in the it's all violation of the international health regulation.
Yeah.
You see, you have to notify. I can read to you that there are a few things that we have been teaching. I cannot say everything, but normally, every day you notify WHO. There is a shock room, strategic operation room, where they all meet. They discuss if it is a virus, if it's radionuclear. They look at what people say from the ground, and they take the information to make a response that is proportionate. The word proportionate response to an epidemic is important because it's not a pandemic. It's an epidemic in Greece. You have to first prove it is an epidemic. You cannot lock down the whole world on 13th of March, like Fauci got an email. from China, or have the email. It's number 1233 and 1234. You look at this, lock down the world now, lock down USA now, and he gave all the measures. So there is something that is wrong, because the international health regulation is clearly you have to notify, and you have to describe, and then you have to define the case. And this definition of the case is very important. You have to define the case, go to the lab, see that the labs all agree that, if it's a mutation, you cannot agree. Then the source and the type of risk, how many cases, how many deaths, there is no deaths. So you can attack them on everything. The factors influencing the propagation of the illness, there was no illness. The measures that are taken, anyway. So there is a big chunk of articles that I can give to you on the human rights, and you cannot lock down people with unjustified, because it stops trade and travel. So in Annex 2, there are 4 questions. And the 4th question, clearly, they have they have superseded every law. They have done exactly what they wanted, and they have violated everything, to never take a risk for commerce and travel. That's crazy. Now, the only law where they can do that, it's like in the film Outbreak. Go and look at the film with Dustin Hoffman, the Outbreak. It's been done with CDC. Is the Syracuse principle. If in this film they saw that a monkey comes in the US by fraudulously, and he makes a girl sick, and the girl makes others sick and sick and sick and sick, and the whole country gets sick, the military takes over. And that's the Syracuse principle. The military takes everything over, and they do what they want with the human rights almost. But they never applied Syracuse principle. They never said they would apply. So they're violating all the laws of the European Court of Justice, of the Human Rights Code, the Oviedo Convention. And we did not even talk of the vaccine. We are just talking about the measures.
Yes.
So it's already there. It's a massive violation. And, many people have gone to The Hague and have sued the tribunal, like in Canada. But if the tribunal is corrupted, you have to go higher. And if you go higher and it is the UN, and the UN is corrupted, it's a problem. So I still believe there is a military tribunal, a war manual, and it's going to happen, and it has already happened.
Yeah.
And we give hope to people, but know that it is a total violation of all human rights.
It is.
Everything. And worse than this, it's not just, you did not apply the law. No, you actually put people down the drain on the floor, made them die, killed them, and made them poor, took their house. This is why it is an evil war.
Yes, correct. And
the correlation.
Yes, in simple words, we can say that all the measures taken against the people from 2020 till now is illegal, and so the governments have to take back the houses, return money, everything. Everything is illegal. With the new kind of government, because I think that all of this government will be removed. It's not. We can change all of the system, yes, and we need to live with a new kind of system, not like this.
Justice has to be served.
Yes.
One hypothesis, one scenario is that it will all be at the same time, and that this military operation will happen all at the same time. The truth will come. That's one idea, but the other idea is that they will arrest certain key people officially, even if it's already done. And then they will look where the rats go.
Yes, and when yes,
but they will go and take.
And when I heard about from those guys there from the companies of electricity that nothing will happen in 2020 with the pandemic, that is another kind of thing that pushed me to find all this stuff against the COVID scam and collect it to send and to protect the people. But as I told, nothing happened. And that we have all of these administrators in a trap, like a trap, because I'm waiting from somebody to call me back, because all the emails has my name, has my phone, of course, and to call me back and ask me what you write here, what you sent it to us. And also in my town, everybody knows me from my work here, a journalist, and nobody calls me back to ask me.
But you see, there might be hostages.
Yes,
it's hostages of a spider web, like this washing machine. Image. They cannot. They would like to get out, and we are helping them by telling them.
And yes, and look,
they're afraid to be killed. They have been threatened.
It takes courage to speak up when they don't have it. It's not.
But if you, I have even if there are some more criminal than others, yes. but imagine that we are in the government. We are. How do you get out with honor and not being killed? It is not easy. No. So you see, because they're spying on each other, like the fascist government. I can understand that some people are sincere and they don't know how to get out. They're afraid.
Yeah,
because they don't have.
They don't know how.
Yeah. They don't have our position.
They receive my emails from 2021, and they continue about journalists. I can say. They continue to advertise vaccines, mask mandates, PCR tests. And I'm thinking, what they are doing? Continue.
But maybe, okay, I have...
Take money, advertise. Take money, advertise. That's the whole point. They knew that they're killing people with this.
Yeah, those who continue, I think they either are threatened, either they are the real criminals. They are in secret societies. It's not possible.
Yes.
It looks like
stop.
WHO. One of a person who spoke to me about in WHO now and who doesn't talk, but told me in a private conversation that I said, so who is directing WHO? And they say it's a cult. Yes. It is a cult. And the idea of a cult is like it's a cult. So they're hiding. And those people it's like a secret society that is huge. But in Greece, maybe you have more because you are ancient. You have been a very ancient culture with great philosophers, but also probably the opposite. I don't know the history of Greece enough to know what are the subterranean, forces that have been rampant in Greece since so long, because look at all the countries trying to break the history of Greece. It's crazy. It's crazy. Compared to Egypt or compared to Rome, I think Greece is much more interesting, has made more philosophers, more, So I was with the Russians. I worked where I'm professor of the Russian Academy, and I was there with Kavinson, Professor Vadim Kavinson in Athens Museum, and Olga Mikhailova. And he said to me, but this is true. Why don't you think that all this mythology is wrong? It is true, because genetically at the time they could modify already. So you have something they want to hide and destroy. And I think there is this force, because it's not normal what happened to Greece.
No. It's the true history, what they call mythology. It's a true history. And they've hidden everything from us. And they don't want the truth to come out. And likewise, it's energy. There's energy here.
Yeah. Greece has a very. Do other countries beside Greece attack the same as you are?
No.
You see, there is something.
Yeah.
You know about the Cretan Minotaurus, Centaurus, all these creatures, and the Medusa, and all
the Medusa,
and
the Hydra.
The
Hydra.
Yes.
No, but you have the Hydra. I mean, they're using Greek words.
Yes, I've noticed this.
It's very interesting.
I've noticed
the giants. Everything is in real. It's not mythology. They're hiding, just hiding. As the reptilians, it's okay. That's another kind of discussion. But
no, but you might have the solution. You might Because of what you're describing to me, there is something much higher in your country.
Yeah.
We will find out. I'm sure. You know, I wanted to say, you see, it shocked me when the bankruptcy of Greece, PsychOp, I think you have politically been attacked to a point. I'm not a politician, but I just analyze in a scientific way. I thought this is so unjust. And when I heard that China bought the port in Athens, Pyros, I said that's the end. What is going on in Greece?
Me too. Yeah.
What went on? Because this is one of the clues.
Yeah.
So you have answers? Is Greece Chinese now? Does it belong to China?
Who knows? Who knows?
I know about that. China bought companies, electricity companies.
Yes.
Not only the port, they've bought up a lot of.
Also, they give a lot
companies.
of money for opening Chinese shops, big shops, and this shops rents to somebody's the individual that has the space there, the building. They rent it about 5,000 euros every month. From where they found the money to sell Chinese products. So cheap Chinese products.
Yeah, there are a lot of strange things going on, but we will put all the dots together at some point.
Yeah, but I can tell you that Switzerland, actually, a lot of things in Switzerland are not Swiss anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nestle was really a Swiss company. It is not Swiss anymore. They're buying all the sources of water in the world. So the part of probably deep state.
Yes.
You know, and some banks look like they're Swiss. They're not Swiss anymore. The Swiss air, all the Swiss air is German and not Swiss anymore. The multinational world is so confusing and intertwined that the private sector can buy today countries and we don't know who they are. You see, the 200 tribes, 13 family tribes, I don't know. They can buy. Bill Gates has bought a lot of land in the US.
A lot of land, yeah.
Dr. Astrid, I don't have something with Chinese people. They are, of course, they are clever. They're very good people. But, you know, the governments have strategies that send nations to other nations to create damage. For example, for our economy here. They send the Chinese people, they send immigrants, the illegal immigrants, the aliens, as we know, everybody, and to destroy all of this economy, the population, the culture, everything. You know, this is
this is an agenda. They've sent a lot of
agenda, a plan. As we say, better is what is the plan for this, and. We need to give people to understand this.
Yes, it's very important for the national
plan
to understand this.
It's a deep state's plan. It's not the people's fault. It's not the Chinese people's fault.
No,
it's not you know.
People are okay.
The deep state has used China. You know, the BRICS there is a hope in the BRICS.
Yes, now
China is in the BRICS. So I mean, they are playing the game of the continuity of government. But in those countries, there have been infiltration. We are in a war of infiltration, even in our movement. But it's important that the Greek people understand their country is at stake. It's their culture and their country.
Yeah, they need to wake up and become aware of what's really going on because they're not.
To preserve their country, you have such a great culture and thinking, you know, thinkers.
Yeah. And together
and church. I mean, the Orthodox Church is one of the most important church today because it holds the line. The other churches have been infiltrated to an extent that is incredible.
Yes. We are all humans. We not have something to split.
Well, we are humans, but they are not humans because I cannot believe that humans can do what they have done. It is like a war on humanity. It's war on people.
Yes,
it is not possible to want to kill babies, pregnant women, to stop fertility, because what people don't know is that we did not talk about the vaccine.
Yeah.
The vaccines that are experimental to this day you never inject a pregnant woman with an experimental vaccine because
I don't think we can call it experimental vaccine. It's a kind of poison that
it's a bioweapon.
need to pass through
biotech.
Yes, through some procedure to take a name experimental, to pass through some
please
regulations.
let's go into those details for a moment.
Well, no, but you see, I have a different view on this because I think that all the vaccines have to be questioned today.
Of course.
Because it is always the same scheme. Because we are healthy and we might have our immunity might have been diminished because of that. In France, to the child, they have to give 11 vaccines. We should be healthier than ever. And so there is a war on people. And we have to say that. It is. That's why I call it experimental vaccine, because an experiment should never be done on the public. It should be done in a small clinic with very methodologically very clear parameters that are valid. No validity in this conflict of interest. There is no consent. It is abuse of consent, forced consent, abuse of power, and it is an attempt of crime on people. This is the four legal attacks that the French lawyer I work with are saying. Yeah. And I wrote a paper to all the jurists, the lawyers in France, to say how dangerous this injection, bio-nanotech, if you want to say the content, then it's not bio. There's nothing biological in the content. We know today, even Pfizer said that there is graphene, in many forms, but there is nothing biological because there is no azote, nitrogen, and phosphor. So it is synthetic and technological, nanotechnological, and maybe even alien, because there is a hydra. And Kari Madej has said that many times and doesn't want to work with that anymore because it is like a being, in the vaccine, moving in a very strange, like a hydra, very strange. I'm saying this because you're in Greece. There's also Dr. Zonta in South Africa. There is Dr. Zulewski, an archaeologist, who proved there is very weird things in this. Not all the battles are the same, but people have to know this. It's time and clean your blood.
Yes.
In 2021, I can remember my source from America told me that this is not a human-made vaccine. It's something from somewhere else, from Antarctica. It's a kind of alien vaccine from Grace that to replace the humanity, to change the DNA, to make an artificial intelligence as they are, something like that. And that told me, for any case, to not accept to take this.
Yeah. Resist. People have to resist. Yeah.
And also, I watched some video, and as now you confirm that.
Yes. Yeah, I confirm. No, but yes. I confirm that this. I am in international groups.
Yes.
We discuss and we inform people. Yeah, we inform people. Stop. Don't even touch this for your children, for your pregnant women, for anybody, because and clean your blood, please. Test your D-dimer, test radiography, test your oxygen, and clean your blood, please, because we need you. We need humanity to continue, and they are doing this injection, which goes in the body, in the organs, etc. To, like you said, that you become an antenna because you have a MAC address. Number two, you have graphene emitter transmitter, and you can have, it's like a database.
It's a self-assembling mechanism inside the vaccines. And also
radiophonic and radioluminescent, and you can biocode it. That's why I say it is emitter and receptor, because with a 5G, which is not 5G, it is really a radio frequency emitting, directed energy. You can biocode it and make people feel bad, sick, you have headache, protect yourself with Faraday cages and with magnets, and there are things existing, and I hope you have some.
We have all the proofs how this kind of technology works into our body, how they send our informations, the biological informations, and all, not only bio informations. They also
it's biomimicking. People have to understand synthetic biology is not biology, and you can mimic biology. You make like a twin that is artificial, because with computer and AI today, you can imitate everybody, and Bill Gates is perfect for that. He knows very well. He has studied the computer. He has applied it to the human brain, to the human body, and they're trying to change you to be the best servers and slaves for those non-human, people.
With this, I read and also I have collected some information about this, and it's not. It has, for example, many sensors into our body, thousands of sensors, not for just report about how is our temperature into, for example, there is a sensor that took the temperature and set it down. Yes,
but Ioannis, this exists since 20 years.
I know.
In my anti-aging books, I was putting there is electronic tattoos that can monitor your brain, your heart, can defibrillate people from a distance.
And that kind, now it's more intelligent. They can share our thoughts also, and they can receive some orders from other places, our databases, or there is some kill switch. For example, if you are not good as a civilian, if you are thinking to do some to harm the government will kill you remotely through this nanotechnology inside. And this is the most important thing that people need to know. We have all the clues of how is created, what is inside. And as I watch a video, a very good video with you and Mr. Ricardo Delgado from La Quinta Columna, he make an excellent research on this, and we have all this book of technical analysis of this vaccine. That in this technical, I have included on this in mails from 2021, and people don't understand what they put in their bodies. It's a strange thing. So,
you have to show these videos and translate them, because they are very interesting. What Ricardo is saying, I mean, they were the first one so people understand that Ricardo Delgado had his 2 parents vaccinated twice or 3 times, and he knew there was something wrong. He sent the vial to Professor Compra at the University in Spain of Almeria, and he's a chemist. He's not an infectious disease medicine who doesn't know what he's talking about. So the chemical analysis in February 2021, already very early on, they found graphene oxide in very nanoparticle, very, very small. And then that was February 21, the first one in the world that made an alert. And then many, many people started to look at. He made a second report for June 21, then a second report November 21, and then Professor Compra retrieved, because he was going to lose his job, so he stopped talking. But he, with Ricardo, kept on the work. He's the one who paid for that, and 200,000 people now participate in Quinta Columna. You can go Quinta Columna, La Quinta Columna. They have microscopes and they share their discovery. People become the researcher and the proof. And you can go and look at water. Even if you buy a microscope in China, they have online 1,160 magnification in color. You can see nanoparticles, capsid.
Yes.
Where you can see the form, the hexagon, heptagon inside of graphene.
Yeah.
So go and look at the mosque with water and it moves, and make your research and go and prove it to people and open up. This is what I really like with what Quinta Columna did. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And something else about the measures, about the thermometry on the head, if I'm correct in explaining this. When you there is guardians for outside the policeman outside the building can shoot your head with the thermometer and to take your temperature from the head.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of scam is this?
Well, yeah, it's again, they tried this, and I think it did not have much success in some countries. When I saw that, I said, stop it, never put a laser in near the eyes and near the pineal gland. If you put the laser, even, the cashier sometimes puts her laser for the barcode bar in your eyes, it's very dangerous. The laser can be very dangerous for your eyes. So imagine the pineal gland, it can go and, it can affect it.
They were using it here very much.
We don't know what they have done, but we know the algorithm is always the same.
Yes.
So when they wanted to do it on me, I said, you stop it, otherwise I'm going to sue you. and they stop. They have no right. It's not written in the handbooks of medicine.
They were
new device.
Here. They were doing it to people without consent.
Oh yeah, that is very bad.
They didn't even ask like you're obliged to obey.
Did they do it to everybody?
They were doing it to everybody.
Yes.
In the airport also?
Everywhere.
Outside the supermarket, outside the hospital, outside the hotel, wherever.
Why did people not say no?
They just did it. You didn't have time to react. They didn't ask you.
But I think that Greece has been attacked
very
economically already to diminish the resistance.
Yes.
Since a long time. So I think they are after you for other reasons, because you have a strong profile of resistance.
Me too.
Because it's not normal.
You are going to pay a bill, for example, and outside the building there is a security dressed like a spaceman, and shoot this your head.
With laser.
And if you said no, what did they say?
Didn't ask you. They did this to me. I didn't even have time to react.
One time I called the police in this case. Yes.
I didn't know
what to do.
And
I asked.
They say no. They have to show why they do it and what is
yes,
in the
I asked from.
They became very aggressive, all of them.
Yes.
Because we have crystals. We have crystals in our brain.
Yeah.
And they can inform the crystals, and so they're so advanced, and we know from the past they can do that in the civilizations. Yes. But anyway, so that's a huge topic, the crystals.
It is.
Because they have put crystals, that's what Ricardo Delgado says, they have put crystals in the vax. So they self-assemble when you turn on the 5G. That is the thing. Yes. It is like a small computer. It's like if you have a chip, and many chips, when you turn on the computer, even the computer, but the 5G, it assembles and it disassembles if you don't. And even if it's not living blood, it is doing that.
It use your body to transform you as another species.
Yes.
They use the technology, the crystals, of course, how to say, to hack your everything, your body, your soul, everything, to hack it and use your body to do something else. That is the transformation, the human transformation, in simple words you can say.
I would say that I work with radiesthesists in France, people who measure the energy level and the soul, and I brought them people were giving me vials. I didn't know what to do with them. So I brought them to some Orthodox priests, actually, and to some radiesthetists that were working together in exorcism. And they measured. And when I asked them, so what's the result? And they said, we are horrified. We are horrified because they have put so bad energy in there. And the motivation is that the energy goes very, very low with the injection. And to keep your energy very high, you have to detox it, or you have to pray, or you have to augment your frequency. But it's like they turn off the light in you and they want to take your soul. They told me that. I said, oh my God, that's horrible. And that's what we can see they're doing now. That it's difficult to connect some days, and we are together. So it is creating a vortex of better energy. And then people can come together and we can help them. And, the victims of vaccine, I call it vaccine, even if it's experimental. The victims of vaccines are the best witnesses today of the secondary effect and deaths of kids, of parents, of everything. And they need to speak up, and we will help them, and we can always support them. They are a witness of the population, and they're victims 10 times more than others, because they say my child died because of the vaccine. And then the police said, no, you killed your kid. That's what happened in France. Yes, I was like, this is crazy. So in France, they have now more than 40 associations of victims of vaccines. It's a big, big movement.
Oh, that's nice.
Because they know, they understand, and I hope that in Greece, people get together, assemble with your great culture, and try to find this energy back, because you can't find it. You have a very nice vortex in Greece with all the monuments and the places that are sacred.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think that most of people that got vaccinated, they don't have mind to think. The vaccine,
not everybody, but yes,
most of them, they can't think about that.
They have to stop watching TV, and they have to stop the Wi-Fi and the 5G, because they can have auditory effect, like you said. There were many researchers that have made books and books on that. On Dr. Lin, L-I-N, he made big book on auditory effect that can be directed energy weapon.
Yes.
And if you turn off and you create rooms where there is no Wi-Fi, you have a Faraday cage, there are places so you can do that. You will find your center again and augment your energy. Actually, human beings are very creative. And, you have very creative people in Greece. They might find it with magnets. They know how to do it. Electrosensitive people come to me and tell me that's how they made it. That's how they managed. This is how they diagnosed the electromagnetic. It happened this week. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They have little pocket, instruments to show to people. And they have tricks. You can buy blankets, with Faraday cage, the same thing you use to make chicken fence, chicken fence is, you can create a Faraday cage. Or people who make music, you can put this sponge, the special sponge, and create a very protected area. And there's things with magnets. So I know that there are more and more creative people in the world now. Yeah. To augment frequency.
Yes.
Yes.
It's an awakening after all.
Yes. But they have to also believe in the gods of the mythology. They have to pray. Who do they have to pray in the mythology?
Yes, because it's also spiritually, this spiritual war, and we need to clear our souls.
Yeah, guides, because actually they have put a veil between our realities.
Yes.
So that we are like in a box, and we cannot see on the other side. We feel, we can hear the messages. And I think this box is going to open up, this apocalypse veil is going to get out. But we have to listen to the right voices and intuition, and stop listening to their psyop.
Yes. This is the way. Listen inside, listen to your intuition. And in reality, they're afraid of us. They're afraid of our potential.
Yeah.
And we have forgotten our potential. And we have to remember
They do everything, so we forget. They do everything.
Yes, yes.
And we have
And that's why they stop all the religions and all the sacred places, and all the intuitive people are attacked today.
Exactly.
All the pitya, you know, in Greece, all the mediums are attacked. All the people who have visions are attacked. But I think they're not going to manage.
No.
There is they have stronger attacks, but also we are stronger networks, more and more stronger networks. Very strong.
There are ways to handle it. There are. We're strong. So I just would like you to mention for those who have been injected, what to do. What would you recommend in order to detox, to get the poison out of the body, apart from spiritual practices? What can they do in order to sustain their health and get better?
We discussed about hand sanitizers. We discussed about mask, test, PCR test, everything.
Yeah.
They tried everything to harm our body and our soul. So we need to.
Of course, we all are in danger from frequencies,
5G,
from radiation,
5G.
From the poison in food, in the air, and from everywhere. But those who got injected, what would you recommend?
Yes. Well, I would say that there is a bit of shedding. So, I mean, anybody around people injected should also consider, cleaning. I would say it's a detox from a toxicity. It's a detox from parasites and a detox from heavy metal. Because what you have in the vaccine is not only graphene, but from all the researchers we know today, it is also metals. It's chrome, nickel, and aluminium is always there because it had specific conductor, property. So this metal, the parasites are even synthetic, even artificial. There is a way, and they have this RFID MAC signal that you have to turn off.
Yes.
So there are different things to heal. The first is measurement. You can measure this RFID and MAC address with some applications on, for example, on the phone, but it is called Bluetooth or BLE or some things, and you can see the numbers of the address. You go on your airplane, there is no reason to have those addresses there, or you can experiment with people so that you can test before and after you detox, that you have no signal anymore, and they cannot biocode or attack you and target you and collect your data, collect your biometrics, collect your whatever DNA they try to collect, because DNA is a big mystery for 90% of the world anyway.
Yeah.
But we don't know for 90% what is a genome. I read again the science, and there's a bit of a scam in the genome. There is something else for me. I'm looking. So this is this. If you're curious, you look at that. You look if you are magnetic. You can put spoons, and people are sometimes magnetic on the point of injection. So this is also a measurement before, after, to make sure you detox after. And another one that you can do is a D-dimer. The D-dimer is 30 euros. It's really worth it, especially for sports people, because sports people are activating the nanotechs, and they are in great danger of myocarditis or clogs or microcoagulation. So D-dimere is a test. Only you take blood, 30 euro, and it gives you a very good indicator. It's the level of microthrombosis and microcoagulation where you are at. 500 and under is the norm. If it starts to be higher, you are starting to have a risk of thrombosis. This means it is the plumbery is becoming clogged up, and you can make arrests, you can make strokes, you can have clots in the thrombosis, embolie pulmonaire. You can have many consequences. You can have heart attack because the plumbery is not working anymore. And that's what we find in the autopsy, that people have big clogs in polymers because it's artificial.
I suggest people to first do the T-dimer test, and also I wrote an article on this.
Before and after the protocol.
Before, of course, to see the health situation this time, and after the toxifies, to see
and the emergency.
Yes.
You see, if they have more than 1,000, 5,000, even one of the sports doctor I work with, he had a sports person. He came. He had 9,000 of D-dimer. He sent him directly to the emergency. He said, "Go and clean your blood, or you're in high risk of, some heart attack or something." So that's the test. And if the D-dimers are not normal, you can find a place where they do very specific radiography, radio X. It is thermic. You can look through the body where exactly the clot is building up, so that if there is an operation needed, you know where it is, or you know where to look at. Okay, so that is what. Then oxygen. Now, so this is oxygen to know if your level of oxygen in the blood is okay or not. And it's very easy. You can have a small thing on your finger.
Yeah.
And if you have less than 95, then it starts to not be normal, especially for kids who have been wearing masks. We were doing studies of children who were wearing masks, and to prove that their oxygen was dropping to 90 or 85, it was criminal. This is very bad. So that's the first part of the test. Then I have on my protocol. I mean, maybe you want to translate it in Greece so people can read it. But to make it, I have two parts. I have one part: when you are sick, what do you do? And there is one, especially with the vaccine, there is one you have to test right away, is ivermectin. Ivermectin kills the parasites, and it also helps with electromagnetic frequency. And as they have put maybe a hydra, maybe parasites that develop when they're in the body, artificial, it seems to stop it very quickly. And I managed to save a few people with that, because I said, take it. Stop with the medication of the hospital, because they give Paxlovid or Remdesivir, and then it's worse than ever. And try that. And ivermectin with chlorine dioxide is very good. So ivermectin will take away this what they have put in there. Yeah.
And stay here. We need to know that the most important thing in our health is the percentage of the oxygen in our blood. This is the most important thing. We need to say that we need to increase
this is where the chlorine dioxide
to increase
it's a chemical.
the oxygen in
it
the
increases
blood.
the oxygen.
So after that, the blood clots destroyed, and the victim returns to the physical condition. That is doing through chlorine dioxide. It's I try to treat many people who had already vaccinated feel better after this.
Yes, and you can use it in spray.
Yes,
you can use it to clean your kitchen, but you can also clean your child's nose and hands. And depending on the dilution, you can also. I have used it for allergies in my eyes because of the pollution and chemtrails. And you just spray it, so it's very useful in the bag. But you can also take baths with it. Latest I've heard to take off the nanotech, because that's the second part, the nanotech. But it goes with everything, chlorine dioxide. It is used with 10,000 doctors in the world. Andreas Kalker is a Swiss. Andreas Kalker, you can give and he gives courses and education. But he has made a big book, Total Health. What is his book in English?
Forbidden Health.
Forbidden Health. You can find it even in PDF now on Telegram.
Yeah.
So go and look and apply this protocol, and Ioannis and Melina can help you. it is very important. You can really save lives with that, really. And I know people who had not a clue in health who have become experts in this because because you get censored, and if you get censored, it means that this is working very well.
Yes, yes.
And so also, in baths, you can put it in baths. But I want to say one thing also. Ivermectin, if you don't find ivermectin, the natural equivalent is always important. And the natural equivalent is Nigel, or we call it also black cumin oil. Black cumin oil. This is oil, Nigel, that is given in all the Middle East, because Mohammed said it will cure you from everything except death. But it is very efficient also. So if you doctors are censored, you can take ivermectin in a natural way. Or if you travel to Mexico, it's very easy to get. And if you're sick and still it's bad, you can take. That's what Professor Raoult saved many people with that. He took hydroxychloroquine, which is a bit of a chlor, but it takes away all the tropical parasites. And azithromycin or doxycycline for antibiotic. And that cleans up the disease, the quick emergency. That's, I think that's important to say with chlorine dioxide. Then the second part is the nanotech, because it's like if you have sand in your car. If you put sand in your tank, the car gets the graphene oxide. I mean, the sand, but for me, the sand is the graphene oxide nanoparticle. So to turn this off, Ricardo Delgado was using zinc because it regenerates the cell, and glutathione, or the precursor of glutathione, is NAC, N-acetylcysteine.
Yes,
it is common. It is a supplement. You don't need, for those elements, you don't need to have a doctor to go and get it in the pharmacy.
It's a supplement. You can find it easily, and it's cheap.
Yes. So this is the element that will give the power to your body to eliminate this oxidation of graphene. But what is very important also is vitamin D3, and K2 if you can find K2. But vitamin D3, because everybody vaccinated is depleted totally of vitamin D3, which is the sunshine, is in your blood. That's what I was saying. It turns off the light. So turn it on again and you can take massive vitamin D. Now it's not true that there is a limit. Like with vitamin C, it is forbidden. And I wrote extensively on vitamin C power to heal. To heal from cancer, from infection, and from radionuclide.
Everything, yes.
It is Nobel Prize from Linus Pauling.
Yes.
And when the Nobel Prize was distributed to good people, real scientists. So don't hesitate to ask for intravenous of vitamin. When you do chelation, for example, for taking the heavy metal away.
Yes.
Anyway, so this is very important, this chunk, and you can always take antioxidants like azathioprine, quercetin, and other antioxidants. But what I wanted to say now,
it's likewise in citrus fruits, quercetin.
Oh, yeah. Well, Bill Gates wanted to kill all the lemons. So, so the lemon is alkaline, and you have to keep your alkaline.
Yeah.
Always alkaline. So take lemons, and
he wanted to patent all the lemons, and so that we could not get lemons.
Yeah. So this
before I I found the chlorine dioxide. I tried to use lemons with soda in the first days of vaccinations because.
So the bicarbonate.
Yes.
Bicarbonate is very good for alkaline. And you can use a little bit every day. And for old people also, my mother takes some when she has problems to digest or acidity. And
it works.
I put it in my washing machine with lemon when I suspect there are some really bad components in my clothes or new clothes you buy because they can put nanoparticles.
And
or if the cat peed on your cushion, you can put that also. It takes away all the smell. And now I want to say with the metal, you can take the alga, chlorella, or clamat to take away the heavy metal. But you can also, and you have to actually, once you deactivate the nanoparticles, the sickness, you have to flush what is in the body. You cannot just deactivate to flush today. What the experts talk the most about and have tested is and Dr. Robert Young is doing products on that. It's zeolite. Zeolite is volcanoes.
The clay.
Also, yeah, but zeolite is more compatible with what we are doing now.
The zeolite. The zeolite.
Yeah, zeolite.
I take it. Yeah, it's very good.
You can also take active charcoal or something, but it seems to be one of the best to flush out the garbage that you have deactivated.
Yes, it binds the heavy metals.
Right, it binds. So you can also take food. You can take your horseradish, mustard, wasabi. It also helps to deactivate the nanotech, but the flushing is very important.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also try to tell people, because I have used it a lot, that when you are too much with the computer or with people who are sick, you go in a bath, hot or cold, but something that you feel good, and you put Epsom salt in it or chlorine dioxide. Now I know that you can also put, and you soak in, you stay in that, because your skin will take off, because the skin is breathing, it is living, and it loves water and salted water. So you just sink in and you can even put holy water and holy salt and sea salt, and you just stay in it. And I stay in it for an hour, 2 hours, and I'm full of energy after that.
Yeah, it will detox. Yeah.
And it's energetic. It is the electromagnetic field reset.
Yeah, right.
Because we are attacked on that. And also take care of your pets, because your pets. Oh, another thing, you have to deworm. The same that you deworm a cat, go and see your veterinary, because he knows more sometimes about human beings than the current doctor.
Yes. This is true. This is true. Also, if you remember, they told us to not to go to the sea for swim in the beginning. For
the sea.
Yes.
Reason. Even in Polynesia, they said to people on the islands, in ocean islands in Polynesia, not to go to the water. It's dangerous.
Yes.
You ask
go with a mask. Go with a mask.
And
we were not allowed to go to the beach and into the water. There were policemen chasing us.
Yes.
Oh no, they're crazy. I mean, how bad can you go? I mean,
see how healing seawater is.
Yeah, it is very healing. Yes. It really detoxes your stress, everything. Yeah.
Also, something strange with chlorine dioxide. I know people, but when they are sick and wants to go to their jobs to avoid the self-test to be positive, they spray in their nose.
Yeah, actually.
And their mouth, with chlorine dioxide, and everything clear.
Yes. Well, I think it's better never to do a test again.
Yes. No.
Avoid everything.
In the bad days, those days.
Yes, in the bad days.
Yes, the bad days. Yes.
But I said in a conference, put Coca-Cola, you will be positive, and if you put chlorine dioxide or salt at the water, you will be alkaline, and you will not be negative. But the TV, the Swiss TV, made a program. Half of it is on me. It's called Fake News and Pandemic. Pandemic lies, a pandemic of lies, and I'm suing them now because of that. It's crazy how when you say some truth, they turn it into fun. You said you've been censored, but it is all over the world. It was systematically in 2022, like in Ioannis, what you mentioned. They started to attack me on the media, big media. In 21 they started a little bit, but 22 it was massive. Yeah. So even what we're saying is good, even if they turn it into fun. It is. You have to listen to the whole story, and you will understand that it's all right. It is logic. It is common sense, and it is based on evidence that has not been paid by the pharma or been corrupted in a way or another.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We're all working, for free, and we're not paid by pharma.
Of course, that's why we're shut down, censored, silenced, attacked.
Yeah. Well, that's, if you can look, and I always tell people, go and look at the interview of Tucker Carlson with Mike Benz, like Mercedes-Benz, BNZ. He would talk to you about the policy of censorship as a tool of war. We are in a war of information and of censorship that has been put together by CIA when they saw that the mainstream media with Facebook, Twitter can take over the narrative.
Yeah.
So this is important. People understand it's not new. It's 50 years old. And they can change the propaganda to show that Russia are bad people with James Bond movies, with everything they can. And it's not true. So it is, I didn't know that it was actually worldwide, and it is a policy they have put in place since 2012, very strong. In all the governments in the world, the same censorship strategy. It is even called, Mike Benz explains it comes from CIA, and it's called media censorship law. It's a legal law to censor us because we don't, can you imagine? And it goes against all human rights. So we have to know we are governed by people who are over the law.
Yeah.
They create their own law
against us.
Yes. So how to attack them is to disclose that it's a new society-controlled model. so it's even called. They need permanent domestic censorship of government office. It is in the government. The censorship is so. Yes. People in the government have signed that they will censor us even if they don't want. They are obeying to the oligarchs.
I think Obama passed this some kind of law like this in 2012. I think this period.
So they signed. Every country, every government signed.
Yes, they started, and every government signed this. Aligned with these measures, and also they have rooms with people that searching for all the truthers to suppress all of them, to close accounts, everything,
Yeah, they even
media. As about the Forbes sites, as other big sites that try to tell that we are crazy, that say all of this, and the spreading misinformations. All of this war against the truth. And as you said before, about 6 years ago, I think it started from the Operation Paperclip and the Operation Mockingbird from CIA. That is, people need to know, to study about that, to know what's how big was that, and the Nazis went to America and took all the media. All of this whole story,
Yeah, we're still in the Second World War, maybe, Yes. Some people say we're still in the Second World War. They just changed the format with the UN.
Yeah, it never ended.
It never ended yet. But I even have written down that this the pressure of the EU government to do this media censor law, it was in 2017, so they accelerated it. And then in Germany in 2017, they did this NERDJ, automated AI, artificial intelligence scan and ban based on DARPA. And of course, it's AI is coming in. They detect the speech automatically, what we say, and they ban. So they called it weapon of mass deletion. So when you know this, you go, okay, everybody listening now can have this problem in his life if we don't stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no freedom of expression. There is a change of narrative, and they direct the narrative of people they want. People who are never censored are in the narrative they want to impose. So no, it's very important. They even have a lexicon, and AI is helping, of course, because AI can take over and censor the words, but we are smarter than AI.
I have a difficult question. It's difficult, yes. As about all of those doctors and that applies the measures.
Yeah.
All of them, especially to childs. I want to ask you about the masks on childs. Nurses, the children, yes. The low-level doctors, nurses, and also some teachers.
The healthcare professionals.
Yes. I think that they know about the damage that masks can do on childs.
No, I don't think so. You're very optimistic. I think many don't know. But many know today that the vaccine is something wrong because they have insisted so much on the vaccine.
Yes, I believe this.
But
yes.
The mask, no, I think. I mean, I see that people still wear masks.
Yeah.
In the street.
Correct. Yes.
So the people afraid wear masks, and even in the hospital, even in this clinic. There is no epidemic and people wear masks.
Still wearing masks, yes.
Yes. In Switzerland, when we had the measures were not drastic like in your countries, and they still wear masks. So the fear, the programmation of the mind with fear is immense. When you are afraid, you get the emotional message of COVID, and then you're triggered like a hypnosis, mass hypnosis. That even our state councillor said. Uli Mauer, former head of the armies, he declared in the newspaper that COVID was a mass hypnosis.
Yeah.
He's from the government, but he's on the peasant side. But I know he would like to show that he's on the side of the people. You see, he's retired, so he can speak. So he's trying to help. But all the others are taken in the web of this corruption. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so you wanted to talk about the doctors?
Yes, because oxygen is the most important thing that doctors need to know for first how the oxygen in our body is for us to live, important to live.
But it's not only that, because we are electromagnetic beings and they forget that. This, for me, it's the most important because we are bioelectric. We have electrocardiogram, electroencephalogram.
Mm-hmm.
And there was doctors and departments in medicine in Paris of Professor Violet. He had a department of bioelectrics of the human body, brain. So for me, if doctors have forgotten completely that element, and they use their phone on the ear like this, and their brain is totally clogged up with the wires, the vibration of all the phones in the hospital and everything. So we are on a frequency war, not on the information and censorship, but on a new paradigm. So people will not understand the cause of the diseases and the death. And this is where I think the narrative is so important, and the censorship is showing that. If you cannot treat well somebody if you don't know the real cause and the real process, it's not just the cause, it's the process to bring to a sickness like cancer. They call it cancer. Yes. Cancer is the anomaly of cells. Yeah. And I can tell you, in this clinic of rehabilitation where I met my mom and helping her with sports at 90 years old. I meet people who are sick with so many diseases that the doctors don't understand. Give morphine. We have a young lady in one of the room, and we met, and I'm talking to her, and I said, so doctors don't know? No, they don't know. And they made this mistake. And they made this. She almost died in 3 hospitals. She's 35 years old. And they give her morphine because they don't know what she has. Because this injection and what they're doing to us is disrupting biology. And doctors don't know this disease. And they don't know what's happening. And they cannot help the person. So I told her about the protocol. I said, listen, I can help you maybe, but you have nothing to lose, because it seems she's like almost desperate. She says, she's very nice looking and everything, but thin now. And so if we can help the patient to get a protocol that works, the doctors will come with us. Because the doctors are afraid to tell to each other, because they will lose their job, they will be accused of being complotist, lying, yes, conspiracy. So there is such a psyop that I think it's the victims again that will help the doctors to come with them. And I met two doctors, and they know. One recognized me, only one in the clinic. But one I said, and he said, yeah. They're very careful. They're very careful. Yes, they're afraid to be denunciated and have their whole career is gone.
Yes.
It's huge. And they have to say sorry, and I made a mistake. And it's difficult. If you were doctors, you would Yeah,
it's difficult. Yeah. But a lot of doctors were paid as well.
Yeah.
So and a certain percentage of doctors is only afraid, and another percentage was paid.
And they look bad now if they're paid. They look even worse. Then they look like they really are collaborators of the evil. But I think we have to give a chance to doctors. But I see the disruption today. Nobody's trusting doctors as much as before. There is really a problem. Even my mother doesn't trust doctors anymore. She's not good.
Of course,
we have 3 doctors in the family, So.
Disclosure will come, so
but it will be a shock. I think we have to be ready. How
we can call them doctors? They're not doctors. If someone knows that this medicine will kill you, how it applies this to you as a remdesivir or something other treatments, or chemical therapy on cancer, or whatever we can say.
People have to understand who listen that cancer, the parasites are one of the causes of cancer, of disruption of the cell, like electromagnetic weaponry. Yes. That they understand that cancer is they have used that as a business model.
Of course.
Yeah.
That it's heavy metal, it is toxification chemicals, etc., etc. So what we are saying now is really the best. But I have compassion for the doctors, because I've worked my whole life at the Faculty of Medicine in hospitals with, special clinics with avant-gardist doctors and as expert with health professionals, and I have compassion, because I think, how are they going to get out of this pitfall? It's tough, because if the system has to shift. Or we have 2 societies. The one who wants to stay with the evil and goes into transhumanism and goes into the evil plan and will eventually die, because there is no way out of except redemption, forgiveness and being spiritual. It is such an evil war that you have to talk about it today. It's very important. This protects you. And those who slowly think, yes, this is going the wrong way. I'm going with the good. And I think that's I hope that's what's happening now. And this year, a lot of disclosure with Trump, Putin, with all those people. And those people are going to show and help us to save the souls of many of those doctors and health professionals and others. I mean, even lawyers. And I see a change a little bit, but I'm still resistant. In Switzerland, there's still a lot of resistance. Yeah.
Here too.
I don't know about Greece too, but
Very much.
maybe it will shift suddenly, no?
We will see. I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Sometimes, unfortunately, you need to have a lot of challenges in your life and in those people's life, very strong shock so that they change or choose.
That's
Yes.
right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been going on for a long time now. It's very
Very interesting things we discuss, and
Yes.
I think they help people because we have also here some kind of doctors, as we can name them, but in 2024, this year, after all of this, they continue to not to say the whole truth, neither half of the truth of all of this situation. They also don't say about all the rest mandates, the rest of measures, and talks only for the vaccines. And people don't understand the damage, the whole damage that happened to them. That's a big problem.
Yeah, and many doctors are sick, you know? Doctors are sick.
I know, yes. Yes.
So if they're honest, they have nothing to lose to disclose.
Yes. Many criminals. Yes, many criminals, yeah. And that's a very big problem.
It's a war. It's a war.
Problem.
Yeah, it's a war, but it's also a war on consciousness and
on everything.
It's
everything.
not.
But we have to give them the benefit to say sorry and to make reparation, because we need also that to have compassion.
Yeah.
You know, we are working in our movement with treaters. There are people who don't want that we talk of graphene. We have to still work with them, and I don't really want to mix up, because for me they are it's obstruction in criminal investigation, because they don't want to talk about the truth, but they want to take the narrative like this evil plan. But I still think, okay, I go with them, and maybe there is still hope they can change. And we have to show our spiritual side much more than before. Actually, it is an evolution for us also.
Yeah, and everybody has free will choice. So, but they will need to decide.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
It's
written everywhere, and they can. You know, I want to say that they can take a measurement of the 5G. They can go and measure. They can measure the radiation. They can measure the 5G. They can. Why don't they do that? And then they will understand, because there are instruments. We have to help them to find the instruments to go and measure, go and see it for yourself. The microscope. Go. Every doctor can read a microscope. Every child can go and look at what is in the mask. And this is a great movement. If the victims start to do it together, the doctors together, the health professionals, and then suddenly maybe this will go in the good plan. I hope so.
Yeah. I wanted to say people have to understand that we're going towards a future that is totally different from what we have known up until now. And there will be no gray zone. There will be no zone where people will be able to hide. So
that's true.
Have to decide. They have to take a decision.
Yeah, that's right.
Part they will proceed. Which side they will choose. They have to take a decision right now, right here, and that's very important. And the moment you take a decision, you find solutions, you find ways to go on, you find ways to solve things.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to take a decision first, and they have to become aware that they have to take a decision.
Yeah, and they will be found because they think that they
Yes.
will. The scan, the soul scan, will show, and they will be ejected.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in our movement, because there are some really false people, but everywhere. Yeah, you're right. I believe, and I think that the future it will not be like the UN now, because the scan would work, and you can see with who you can work.
Yeah,
right away. It's a vibration. Well,
yes,
it feels good.
We're frequency, but there will be no place to hide.
Yeah,
they have to understand that. Because there will be no need to hide things or whatever. There will be space to hide.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
they can
change their mind, their
Yeah, and money will not
thinking.
be important. Maybe money would not be important as much. So
No,
it would change their game completely. They cannot buy people. Yeah.
Because this deception we're living in, it's this material world is a deception, total deception, What is really important is our soul, and to realize that we are souls and we just have a human body, and we're frequency, and everything should be free, everything we need.
No tax, slave tax.
Should be free. We're not slaves. We're souls.
No. And we are immortal. You see, one thing that's important is that they have created a psyop with Darwin, the Darwinism, that there's no God, we come from a natural selection of biology, and then and there is no medicine, and there is no life after death. So there is eugenics. So your life is not very important. So you can do euthanasia, active euthanasia, and you can change sex because you're not important. You can do what you want, and you have no morals. So there's no morals. So you don't need a religion, and there is a logic of euthanasia and the attack on family value, on love. No love, no morals. You don't believe in God, and you're not more immortal. So I have met, even in my family, I discovered that they're totally atheists, and because of the moral shift in the movies, in the psyop, they don't believe. They say, if you believe in God, they say you have a delirium. This is where it is. So they don't even believe they're immortal. And I say, but feel it. They can't feel it anymore. So it's together. It's been prepared since a long time.
Yes, since a very long time.
Soulless. Only money.
It's mass hypnosis.
Yeah. And the value system is into luxury, sex, do what you want, have pleasure, and it is really just create a virtual reality, of virtual values.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting to develop that. And in the culture of Greece, you see what it can do. It can really be a big contrast.
Sure.
People with Google in the street, they go like this and they don't see you anymore. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't exist. And in the family, it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want. It's right. Yeah. It's that disturbs me. That's why I'm saying it's disruptive.
Yes, they have erased everything. Yeah.
So immortal, we are immortal also.
We are. I'm very glad you say that, because I totally agree. I've always believed that we are immortal.
Yeah.
And we should remember it.
Yeah.
And when we remember it, our body begins to remember it, and our cells are listening to us.
Yes, exactly.
We have the power.
And you regenerate, then you're not programmed for aging and death and degeneration.
It's just a program. It's nothing else. So you can program your mind in the opposite direction and just know that you're immortal and you have all the power for everything. And you can regenerate the cells, and your cells are listening to you. And you will see what happens. And
Yeah,
this is
it's not AI. It's not AI immortality, which is nothing.
No, we don't even need AI. We don't even need all that because we already have it. It's God-given. It's inherent. We have it.
Yeah, AI is a killer.
Yeah, we are divine beings, and we are genetic royalty. We are totally divine, and this is what they're after. This is what they want to destroy, and this is what they don't want us to remember: who we are, where we come from, and where we're going.
Yes, and I can add just one thing important. Is what is life? Because one thing to heal this attacks on our electromagnetic being is one way to do it is to go in the water, is to go barefoot on the grass, to go under the trees, like the philosophers were doing, and you get back to this divine source.
Yes, you go.
It's a way of healing of this new medicine that existed already with Hippocrates.
Yes, it's ancient. It exists everywhere on this planet.
That's why you're attacked, because you have the philosophy, you have the wisdom in your history. It's still there.
Yeah. Exactly. So humanity will awake. It will get together. We will do great things.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time, and it all will be perfectly all right, and it will be done in love.
Mm-hmm.
And we will find a way to do it. We just need to unite.
Yeah.
So I think, because it's very late and we've been on for a long time.
You can make sections.
Yes, okay, but we cover everything, and very, 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 very good, all of this, and
we can continue some other time.
Of course, and we have to thank you very much for all of this time you spend with us, and give all of this fantastic information, priceless information, we can say. And I want you to say the last word on this. Yes.
Yeah, well, no, but I think, just this session with you, it's not going to be the last, is very important, because I realized that, I start to see this vision that Greece has to reactivate a lot of your culture, because Hippocrates is coming from Greece.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he said so many things. Your healing is in your food. It's true. It's true. And you have the Stoicism. Mm-hmm. Don't be affected by those people who are trying to attack you. I mean, you have many things that can be applied to the world as solution. And I'm sure that there is something to do. You might have to do a program just to reactivate the incredible knowledge and ancient wisdom of Greece.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same with the Vikings, and it's very difficult because the Nazis have just destroyed all the Vikings, and Putin, when he did his speech with Tucker Carlson, spoke half an hour about it, like reactivating where you come from.
That's right. Yeah.
Please do the same. Go on Tucker Carlson. Reactivate where you come from.
Our roots.
Yeah, because we might have the same roots then, in that way, Hyperboreans.
Exactly. And the griffin you see there, it relates to the Hyperboreans. He's a guardian.
Oh, fantastic. So what's his name? It's your painting.
Griffin.
Oh, that's the name. Griffin. Excellent. It's a protector, you said.
Protector. Exactly.
Very nice.
That's why he's here right now.
Well, he protected well the program. Thank you, Griffin.
So
Thank you, Melina, and thank you, Ioannis. It was great.
Thank you.
I was very happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Astrid.
It was
And good luck, not only luck, but highest vibration and love of divine for your protection of the Greek people, and that, wherever they are, they wake up to their true nature. That would be great.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Nice.
Good night.
Good night.